Hallo meine Freunde, ich heiße Nina. Willkommen zurück zu meinem channel. Today I just really wanted to tell a story, or the story, about why I started to love German and how. In my previous explanations of why I chose German to learn, I mentioned that it basically was just me wanting to be unique because all of my friends were learning Spanish and I wanted to be different. So my decision to learn German was actually not a decision based on my love for the language. That came way later. Because initially I was just in a situation where I thought it was cool, I thought it was unique, it was difficult to learn, it was uncommon, and that's all there was to it up until I started learning it in college. For the record, I am going into my junior year, so I've had quite a few semesters of German. I was required to have 2 consecutive semesters. After the second semester, I decided to take German on as a minor. So this story includes 3 teachers. 2, the first and the last, who I absolutely adore, absolutely love them, and 1 who, all respect, was kind of crazy. No offense to this professor. The professor was very passionate and very much wanted us to do good, but they just weren't the best teacher. So three professors, 2 who made me love the language, 1 who made me hate it, all equally gave me the tools that I needed to find my love for the language. So starting from the beginning, my very first semester, I'm in German class. I'm one of I'm one of 2 black people in this class. Not to, this doesn't matter, but I thought it was funny. I was one of 2 black people in this class. We have a small school, so the class sizes are a little bit small. I think it was like 15 people. But one of 2 black people, and in the middle of the semester, the second black person stopped showing up. It was just me. So again, not that big a deal. I just thought that was funny to throw that out there. But I start this class, no idea what to expect because as of now, I've only been learning German on my own. This teacher, amazing. Absolutely astonishing. So what they did is not only were we working on obviously the basics of the language, German 1, we're working on, knowing our animals, knowing how to introduce ourselves, but this professor would routinely give opportunities and reward going outside of the curriculum. So we had extracurricular activities that were like write a short paragraph on this and this and this, and would always say, I don't care about your grammar mistakes. I don't care if you use a word the wrong way. As long as you're going out and discovering the language and making an effort, it won't count against your grade. So you would really hammer in, go and find things, find new topics, learn new words, put new things in your assignments, and just discover the language beyond what is required for German 1. That obviously helps a lot when you're rewarded for doing more. But what really helped me was that this teacher was so encouraging and so supportive. I remember, this is actually pretty embarrassing. There was one test that we had that, even though I studied for it, I crammed for it, whatever, for whatever reason, I probably didn't study enough. I don't remember, but I probably didn't study enough. for whatever reason, I felt prepared when I was going in. I sat down, blanked. Nothing. Blank. Zero things happening in my head. As soon as the test starts, I freak out. And I actually ended up having a inner panic attack in the middle of this test because I was like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm looking at these words and I have literally no idea. And the format of our test is actually pretty easy, but for some reason, none of the words were in my head. And I'm staring at this page. I'm trying to guess. I start flipping through. I was like, I just need something. I need to find something that I know the answer to on this test. It actually ended up being not that bad. But there was a whole section that I was just blanking on. And I ended up crying, silently. Just in the middle of this test. And I'm the last person to complete it. Everybody's walking out. As soon as you finish, you hand it in, you walk out. People are walking out. I'm just sitting there. I was like, so stupid now that I'm thinking about it. But anyways, I was sitting there. I was trying, getting little answers here and there. And after the last person leaves and I'm still there, we have 20 minutes left on the test. Because it wasn't actually that hard. I just blanked on it. And that's what made it worse, is that people were finishing the test so fast. And I had no idea what was going on. Anyways, she comes up to me. She says, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." "Yeah, I'm fine." It's like, no, you're not. Literally gives me no answers, but talks me through the entire, verbally talks me through the test, but just enough to jog my memory, and then it starts coming back. And I actually ended up doing so well on that test because I sat there, and just for those 30 seconds that came up and asked me, "Are you okay?" and helped however I could without giving me the answers. It was so thoughtful. I wasn't expecting for this professor to be so kind. After that, I just started getting more comfortable with the language. I felt less freaked out about the concept of learning a whole new language because I allowed my brain to lower the stakes after that interaction, because I was like, oh, I am really gonna be okay. It really isn't, life or death. And that sort of helped me to gain comfortability in the language. And then I started doing those, because I'm a lazy person. I didn't want to do extracurricular. I was like, I'm fine. But then I started trying out those extra assignments that she had us doing. My favorite one was an essay we had to write on a holiday in Germany. It could be any holiday. I chose Easter because that's my favorite holiday. I'm a Catholic, so I love Easter. Being encouraged to look more into Germany culturally in our free time as our extracurriculars, I started learning about things that I thought were really interesting. German traditions for Easter are really cool. I wonder what their traditions are for other holidays, things like that. Part of our curriculum was learning about the German school system and how different it is. I thought that was really cool. I mean, interesting. I think it's weird the way the Germans do school, but I was very intrigued by it. And that made me realize, hey, I only know one culture, my own. And I think that's probably not how I want to continue my life from now on. So that sparked my sort of intrigue into learning a new language. And when you learn a language, you can't learn a language without learning a culture, because what are you learning this language for? And my little window into German culture was my German 1 class. Now on to German 2. Guys, when I tell you, this whole semester felt like a fever dream. This semester was a fever dream. It was crazy. I still work at the school. I do still have a lot of respect for this professor. But man. Okay, so let's start off. When you're learning a language in an academic setting, you know what? You don't do the language on your break, because your break is your break. And for me now, obviously, I have more of an interest in learning languages, so I am doing it pretty much every day. But back then, I was just trying to get my grades, man. So in the break, probably no German. So imagine my surprise, and the surprise of all the other students, who all of them carried over from the last semester. So aside from like one or two people, my class was essentially the same people that it was last semester. We're looking at each other, this German 2, speaking zero English. Not a word of English. Comes in, energetic person. When I come into my class, I assume the first day, like, class doesn't even, like, the curriculum doesn't even usually start until the second day, because the first day is usually like introducing yourselves and talking about the syllabus and things like that. It's usually really chill the first day of class. Not today. I come in, I expect, especially because it's a language, I expect, like, at most, I expect a review, I expect talking about the syllabus, I expect, do you have any questions about the syllabus? Go around, answer, maybe introductions in German. That's pretty much all my expectations are. And they were far exceeded. We all sit down. We're all like, are we gonna review? Oh, are we gonna talk about the syllabus? This professor walks in, and I cannot stress this enough. Absolutely zero English. None. We all sit there. We're looking at this person like they're crazy. We're like, what the heck is going on? I don't know what's happening. Last semester we were learning about, like, how to say dog in German, and now this person is talking to me and I don't know what they're saying. And this person wouldn't stop. Like, there were no breaks. They didn't even ask, do you understand? They were just like, oh, I love those looks on your faces. I'm gonna keep going. Immediately, all of the class just like, we're not doing this. There were other issues we had with this professor over the course of the semester, but overall, and I think they had the right idea in mind of, they wanted to create an immersive experience, but for a German 2 class, to be expected to speak zero English was crazy. Like I said before, we had issues with this professor. They still work at the school. The issues were resolved. So I'm not gonna talk about any of the issues that we're having. It was bad. We had a class group chat. We were just like, I don't want to go back to this class. Can I skip? Can I change? Can I change my language? But we learned a lot. And the funny thing is, I felt like by the end of that semester, I knew less about German than I did before, because it was just so intense. But that wasn't actually the case, obviously, but that's what it felt like. Like I said, this professor, I had problems with them. They had problems with me. And I could not wait for this semester to be over. I loved pretty much every other class, but this class made me hate school. And afterwards, they start talking about next semester, if you want to continue German as a minor, you can go on to the next level. And I said, oh, are you teaching that class? Because if so, I'll pass. But the upper level, there is an upper level German teacher. And so after the German 2 class, I would be getting a new teacher, theoretically. And at this point, I was still on the fence about it. I was like, I'm tired. I wake up every day and I'm tired of this language. And I literally was like, I don't even want to learn German anymore. This is crazy. If this is what German is, I quit. I'm so dramatic. I really am. But I was so serious. I was like, I can't wait for this. I have a choice for this to be over, and you want me to continue. I'll pass. But a thought popped in my head, and I was like, I really don't like this professor. This professor has made me hate German. But I came into this language with an intrigue that over the course of this semester had dissipated. And if I don't continue beyond this point, then this professor will be my last impression of the German language, which I don't think is fair to the language. So I said, I'm going to do another semester and see what happens. And that brings us to professor number 3, who is the most amazing professor at that school, hands down. I'm a music major, so my only impression of the school, other than my required courses, are the music teachers. Comparing my German professor against my music professors is very, wild. But overall, this professor, if I wanted to drop out, this professor would be the reason I stayed at the school. So, in the upper levels, obviously it's harder. German 3, obviously it's crazy. You're learning, you're doing a lot of speaking practice, reading comprehension, which is what I struggle with the most, and it's wild. However, for some reason, German 3 was not nearly as difficult as German 2, because that professor just made everything so much harder. Anyways, starting German 3 with a new professor was literally a breath of fresh air. I was like, this is amazing. I love this language. In the upper levels of German, you learn not only language, but culture. Talk about culture and history of the German country. And learning about those things, listening to German musicians, watching maybe the weirdest movie I've ever seen in my life. I don't remember the name of it. I might try to find it. If I find the title, I'll put the title here. Probably the weirdest movie I've ever seen, and I hated it so much. German 3 was so interactive. What we had to do, we watched this crazy and, in my opinion, awful movie. And then we had to, because the ending was wild, our assignment, our midterm, I think, was to write a skit of how we thought the ending actually should have gone. And it was so fun. And the people on my team, because I think I was the only person who was as mad as I was at the movie. I was like, this is crazy. What are you doing? What's happening? It was about a woman who was in a coma. She got in a coma right before the Berlin Wall fell and woke up a little bit after and didn't know what happened. And the whole movie is about her son trying to hide the fact that the wall has fallen. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyways, I'll try to put the title up. But this professor made every single aspect of learning a language so much fun and so informative in a way that's not just you're reading from a book and you're listening to lectures and you're listening to things and you're getting tested. It puts everything into context in a way that makes it so you want to know more, so you want to understand. And that gave me so much of my legs in getting to know the German language and in getting to love the German language, because I'm learning about this culture. I'm watching these movies, crazy and otherwise, and it's just so intriguing. And knowing the context of things like the Berlin Wall and obviously World War II and World War I. In another class, and I think the class after, we watched a movie called The Comedian Harmonists about a singing group that was half Aryan, half Jew, right before and during Hitler coming to power. Putting language into context makes the language so much easier to learn, because being able to connect to that language is a fulfilling feeling because you know what you're connecting to. In conclusion, these three professors, good, bad, good, all helped me find my way in learning to love the German language, and I wouldn't have it any other way, even though the one was so bad. It lit a fire under me and helped me find my passion, and I'm so glad that that's where I am. So that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. As you can see, I'm updating my everything. I'm new lighting, new background. I'm still working on a few things. The quality is coming. It is coming. I hope you stick around. I'm gonna be back with more studying videos and things like that. More topics related to the language. If you want to stick around to see that, please subscribe, like the video if you liked it, leave a comment if you want more stories and things like that. And I think that's all I have. So thank you for watching. Tschüss.